Your views on bioscience, what it means to the state of Delaware, and what you think it could mean to the state of Delaware.
Well, first of all, it's an incredibly important industry in terms of jobs, in terms of investment, in terms of people being involved in the community. But in this industry, it's actually a double win because it's also about the impact it has on people. You know, this industry will not be successful unless it's making products that make a difference in the lives of real people. And so what could there possibly be better than that? Because that requires significant research, which the universities and elsewhere provides opportunities for students, high school, college, graduate students. So when you have an opportunity to do great research, make a difference in the lives of real people, employ people, and then those people happen to be volunteers in the community, invested in the community, that's what it's all about. It's exactly the kind of industry we want.
We've seen some tremendous growth here in Delaware at the Biotech Institute. The partnership between the university and business. Over 90 companies with the Biotech Association as well, and the associations, affiliations between those two groups. What more do you think can or perhaps should be done to really promote and develop biotech here in the state of Delaware?
Well, I think the main thing is for people who are in government to listen very, very well to the people who are in the industry to get their sense of what else we can do. So, for example, at the recent dinner at the Bio Association, I had a chance to talk to some of the folks running some of the smaller companies, and they gave us some ideas about things that they'd like to see a little bit different, more opportunities for them to network with each other, because they were explaining to me that this industry, more than many, is really about networking, where research at one company can feed off research at another. And so I think, if we're good listeners, if we've got good schools, if we have reasonable taxes, a great quality of life, we're going to attract more and more. So in my view, A, we've got to have a good story to tell, which we do, and we've got to make it better. But B, we've got to tell it really aggressively, and that's what it's all about.
Newark, Delaware presents a sort of a campus environment that's very close-knit and offers something that Delaware can offer that no one else can. In California, you have businesses and campuses that are miles apart.
Right.
You have Arizona miles apart.
Right.
What would be your ultimate vision of the biotech industry in Delaware with that in mind?
Well, first of all, I think we really have to think about this as a regional approach. The stronger that we do as a region, the better off we're going to be. It's going to be better off for Delaware. But I think, first of all, the bottom line is we need great schools, because if we don't have great schools, we're not going to, first of all, you're not going to be able to attract the kinds of workers here that you want, because they're not going to want to send their kids to poor schools. Secondly, great companies want to have access to a skilled workforce, both in terms of folks coming out of the high schools and then certainly coming out of college and graduate degrees. So I think we have to look at this as a full spectrum. When we have great schools, when we have the right kind of worker training in places like Delaware Tech, when we have great research opportunities in places like Delaware State University and the University of Delaware, when we've got a responsive government, when we have a business community where they want to work with each other, then we're going to be able to figure it out, and I think we can be faster, more nimble, more responsive than other states will ever be.
As a governor who has had experience as an entrepreneur, as a businessman, how do you feel that your experience and your leadership could grow or help grow biotech here in Delaware?
I think by far the way that my own background is most helpful is that I'm smart enough to know that I don't have all the answers, and that the people who do have the answers are generally not folks in government, but they're the people who are actually creating the jobs and the prosperity in the first place. So if we're smart enough to listen to them and then act on what they tell us, we have a pretty good chance of getting to it together.